how much do your maybe some of the players who are from this area know, but how much do you want your guys knowing about what Mark was like for this program and how big of a deal he is going into this weekend?
I hope they all know it. I think that we've, since the announcement of the retirement of the jersey, I think most of the guys have studied it. We've talked about it a lot. We've mentioned about his freshman year having the most goals in the history and his sophomore year having the most goals in his junior year and whatever else, all the things he's done. And I think now that they've looked back and kind of seen the full picture of everything he's done, it's impressive. And I think, the thing that makes me so excited is, right when I got back here and we were talking to all the alumni to try to figure out, what they wanted and what would get them excited. And to a man, every single one of them said, "Why don't we get a jersey? And why shouldn't we, try to get Marks up there?" And that was their big push. And I really, so from an excitement, when you talk about our players, but you talk about our entire program from the start of it, through our current players, that jersey, that player, that man has represented us and exemplifies what Badger hockey is. He put us on the map. He was, in my opinion, I tried to look at other athletes at other schools and seeing what great players did at their programs. And I looked at hockey and I looked at other sports. And I don't know if you can find another 5 athletes that you could put in the same argument of who is the greatest college athlete on what he did for his program and his sport. And I'll put Mark up there against anybody. And to finally have this night is special, really special for our team. And it's been a long time, and it brings back the excitement of what Badger hockey, was back then. And to have this special event coming up makes it exciting for all of us that are lucky enough to be around to watch it and be part of it.
P.S. Coach Johnson said that he technically has a year left, and you could sneak him in on a power play. He'd be cool with that.
I'd love that.
On a serious note, though, I know you guys have had quite a few overtimes, and I think this is the 3rd shootout of the season this past weekend. To get that one in right away with Max's goal, how satisfying was that, do you think, for your team?
It was really, big for us. I know we've been on the wrong end of some shootout and overtime losses, and it's demoralizing. And as well as you play, and in that game you had 50-some shots in regulation time, and we had plenty of chances to score 7, 8, 9 goals that game, and it just didn't go in for us. So we deserved to win. We didn't get it in regulation, and to walk out of that building, knowing that we at least won the shootout was, I think, important for our team. We've, like you said, we've had enough of those games. It seems like every game in the past 7 or 8 weekends of Big Ten play, we've had games go down to the wire overtime, and fortunately Max came up with a big goal for us, and it makes us feel good heading into this big weekend.
You get the sense your players are looking forward to having another chance against Ohio State after the first time you played them wasn't maybe their greatest demonstration of themselves the way they can play.
Correct. It was a weekend where they were better than us. It was a learning weekend for us. We were playing a much more experienced team that was, like I said, better pretty much in all facets of the game that weekend. And at the end of the weekend, our message to our players and heading into that week was we get them again in a couple months. And it's our opportunity for us to grow and get another crack at them. And what we're going to do at the time between now and when we play them is we're going to have to be fast learners, and we're going to have to grow as a team. I think we've done that. We positioned ourselves to give ourselves an opportunity to, see where we're at, and we're obviously really excited about the challenge, and I think we're in a pretty good spot to be ready to play well against them.
Andy?
Tony, between the men's and women's programs and 10 national championships, you could make a case that Grant Stanbrook has had a hand in 9 of them. How has he influenced your career?
Great question. And I loved Mark's answer on Grant. And if you go through the players, you can look at the players that he recruited to our school and what he taught them while we were here. And in my case, and I've said this over and over, for an assistant coach, the one-on-one stuff that he was able to teach me on things that I could implement in a game immediately was amazing. And the fun part for me, and when I came after Mark, obviously, he had film of Mark, so he'd call me over into his office. We'd put a VHS tape in there, and he'd show clips of Mark with little moves and little things he did on the ice. And he said, "That's what I want you to do. I want you to do this. We're going on the ice. We're practicing this. We're practicing this." So there were things that he taught me, and like Mark said, he was way, way ahead of his time. I've never had a coach like that be able to break down the game and show me as much in a short period of time. And so we, all of us that were lucky enough to have him as a coach, he helped us in some way, shape, or form. I still call him. He still watches our games for us. I call him and ask him questions all the time. He points out things from the TV that he sees that help me in what we're trying to do. So he's a great man. He's a mentor. And I'm really looking forward to having him in town this week, and hopefully we'll give him a special night as well. And that's another thing I said all of our alumni wanted to honor Mark and get this to happen, but all of the players that were here and were fortunate enough to either be recruited by Grant or play for him all said the same thing: what can we do to give Grant a night? And I think that's the voice of the alumni speaking up on what he meant to them.
Even before Saturday, your numbers for shots on goal have been up lately. Was that something you, as a coaching staff, said you had to change recently, or is that just a factor of players maybe sensing a little bit more of a desperation as the season gets along?
I think a little bit of both. I think that it's been hard to score at certain points of the season for us. We're not going to get a lot of pretty goals just based on how teams are playing us. So we're going to have to score some of the goals like we scored in Minnesota. We were able to get 8 that weekend there, and most of them were rebounds and crashing the net and second, third opportunities. So there was definitely been a shift in our mindset of how we've played in the offensive zone. I think it's been much better. I think the players are starting to understand that's how we're going to have to score down the stretch. All of these games are so meaningful. Teams are going to buckle down defensively. They're going to play tight around their net. It's going to be hard to make plays through them. But if you can get it to the net and crash and bang, you get a much better chance of scoring. So I think that's been a lot of it.
What makes Ohio State so good defensively?
Experience, big bodies, protect their net well, physical. And a very confident group defensively and smart. I mean, they don't get caught. They don't give you outnumbered attacks. Their defense, protect their net front probably as well as anybody. Their goalies, you look at their numbers, they're obviously playing extremely well. I don't think there's a lot of second opportunities there. I think the clearing out in front has been a big part of their team defense. So again, it'd be a great challenge. And like I said, I think the experience that we had on getting our butts kicked in Columbus a couple months ago was a message to us on what we needed to do to get better. And hopefully in these last 2 months we've done a lot to improve to give ourselves we got the opportunity. And again, our team hasn't gotten the results we wanted, but I've loved how we played. The game on Friday night was a sleeper. It was like the Super Bowl. Seriously, the Friday night game was, he slept through that game, we slept through it. And we responded Saturday again. The 2 Minnesota games were great. The 2 Notre Dame games were great. The Denver games, and we're in every game. We're close, and we just got to keep pushing forward and try to find ways to win the games when they're on the line. And hopefully we'll have that opportunity this weekend.
Is there something you'd like to see your players do that they haven't done in that respect in flipping one of those games into your category late in games that have been close?
Well, I think the one thing that we have to get better in that's been the difference maker in probably most of those games is our penalty kill hasn't stepped up. And lots of factors go into that. I think that if we can get that part of our game to be more consistent and solid, it will give us much better chance of having better results. So you can't give up 3 power play goals in a game and expect to win. And or you can't lose a special teams battle every night and expect to win. So I think that's probably the factor. And again, we've got a bunch of young guys on it. I love the personnel we have on it. They just haven't been able to get up to speed yet, but they will. They'll be that's part of playing with a young team is battling through that and working through it. And as we finish this year and as we finish the Big Ten play. That's one area that I think we can improve in and have a great finish with and get ready for the playoffs and be in a good spot.